What's up, guys? I'm back from Korea. Figured I'd talk about a couple things today. A little thing that's going on in my life with my next door neighbor here, and how in Japan it's hard to escape the inevitable fact that even if you don't have a wife, you might have one. While being in Korea, I realized I talked with quite a few people, over 100 families. Checked out the dynamic, kind of walked around the town, and when I wasn't talking to the husbands and wives, I talked to boyfriends and girlfriends, and I noticed quite a few things. Some of the things I noticed was that PDA is much more prevalent. They seem to, even older people tend to hug and hold each other's hands and seem to love each other better. The power dynamic is kind of even. The wife and the husband kind of both equally don't like each other. You know, that's something that I noticed. They kind of bark at each other, just the way we do in Japan, except for it's usually just the wife that barks towards the husband. The things that I did notice was that their culture seems to be quite a bit more advanced than Japan, in the way that there's more ability for a woman to do things in their culture. They're a little bit more on an even footing. The thing that I did notice is we have the same kind of Mangyna mentality going on over there. We have a lot of men that are prostrating themselves, just as we do in every other country, so there's nothing new about that. A lot of what I noticed was that a lot of the dynamic that we have here in Japan is almost non-existent in Korea. We seem to have a lot more of a, I don't know, almost a hatred towards men in Japan. The way they do in America, most feminists have a hatred towards men, but it's much more prevalent in American culture. Here it's a little bit more insidious. They tend to hide it, and I hear a lot of the MGTOWs talking about shit tests. Well, in Japan, the way shit tests work in the first place is you don't have to really worry as much about a shit test. A shit test is just, you know, you can just tell them fuck off. The ones that you need to worry about are the ones that don't shit test you. And the reason why is what they're trying to do is get their hooks into you. They want you to marry them. And once they marry you, or they date you for a long period, extended period of time, women will tend to do like mini shit tests. And what they try to do is they try to find out how they can manipulate you. They want to find out how to manipulate you specifically. And how they do that is they do little things, little tests, little things to try to get you to take the trash out, to do the dishes, do the laundries, things like that. Little things as you're working and going through your daily day. They try something, and if it doesn't work, then they try something else. And pretty soon they have a bag of tricks that they can use to basically run your life and manipulate you to no end, to where you have no life and whatever you're doing is what they want. And this is their whole sole goal. And that's the same thing they have in Japan. They have that same kind of principle. where the wife kind of hides it, and it's very small and very insidious, and it's basically like that little worm in Star Trek that they put in the guy's ear. Slowly the guy will die because the brain will be eaten up by the worm, but it can affect how you act, you know, and that's their little thing. They like to sneak that in and try to figure out if they can like commandeer your life and steer it to where they want it to be. Now, the thing that I got going on here in Japan is, since I moved in, I have this old bitchy lady that lives next to me. Now, first off, her room is downstairs in my front living room, which is where my computer was before. And her bedroom she set up right next to there, which is the living room. So she decided to call the police and say that I was watching movies late at night, which her TV is right there against the wall as well, and she leaves her TV on all night long. But it's only a problem because I'm a foreigner. So she decided to call the police and tell them that I was making too much noise and all this stuff. And he came out, and I had just moved here. I didn't know anything about the trash regulations, where the trash goes. So I just kind of bagged up my trash and I put it outside against the wall. And I just waited for the day when I would find out what the trash was. I was going to ask a friend. Well, she calls the police and has them come over and do all this stuff. And I'd been here for a week and a half at most. So she constantly tells me what I can and can't do, which I don't listen to. I don't give a fuck. She's just some old cunt next door. But she seems to think, because she's a Japanese woman, that she has the right to tell me what I can and can't do, you know. And this is a typical thing. She doesn't have a husband. She probably never has had. She's too much of a bitch. But she has the idea, like, I've been here now for 6 months. I technically don't have a job. I've been living on my own. I moved here. She doesn't see me go to work. She doesn't see anything about my work life. So she sees that I moved here. I moved a lot of things here. So obviously I must have a lot of money. I'm still here, and I haven't been kicked out. So obviously I've paid the rent, which I've paid this house for a year. So I paid $7,700 US for this house for a year, and I obviously have a lot of money. So for her, this is a problem, because she's a woman, and she's probably living off the state. She doesn't work, so she's probably on some kind of a welfare service. And she's a little bit, she's one of these women that, instead of their eyes right here, they're like a little bit closer in. So she's, you know, yeah. So I think she has it in her head that this is a problem for her, because she should be the one being able to live on her own and do what she wants off the state. And she finds me as a problem because I can do it as well, although I'm not living off the state. You know, I had a company in the U.S. where I restored cars, and that's how I put myself through college. I restored cars and motorcycles and built classic vehicles, and yeah, that's kind of how I made all my money. And she has it in her head that she can tell me what to do. So let's talk about a story that happened today. It's been hot here in Japan, about 85 degrees lately. 77 at night, 85 during the day. And I turned on my air conditioner about 2.5 weeks ago, maybe a week before I started going, probably less than a week before I started going to Korea on the 16th. And since I've came back, I've had it on almost every day, because it's hot as fuck over here, and there's like 90% humidity and 85 degrees, so it feels like it's 100. So I've had it on, and apparently there's a little hose that goes outside my deck, and it's been dropping water, you know. So, you know, if you were a normal person, you would come over to the next door neighbor's house, and you would maybe ring the doorbell and say, hey, you know, there's water dripping, could you do something about that? No, she doesn't do that. She calls the police. And the police come over and tell me to do it. And we were both shaking our head, you know, because the policeman is a man, and we're both shaking our head about it. And I was like, I didn't even notice, you know, sorry, you know, so it's not a big deal. And there was actually a hole, there was a pipe that runs down from the roof for drainage, and there was actually a hole there, and there was a hose that was supposed to pop in there, and it actually wasn't popped into the little hole, and it was actually just outside the decks. The former guy who lived here before had it sitting outside the deck. So I don't know why he did that, but I just took it and shoved it back in the hole, and it was done. Not a big deal. And then I shut the door, and he said, hey, thanks, and off, you know. But this is the whole problem. You know, these women, you know, I'm not going to be her white knight. So she wants to feel that she's a victim, you know. So her white knight, her Mangyna white knight, is the police officer, because I'm not going to do it. You know, I'm not going to go to her house. I'm not going to help her do anything with her house. She can fuck off. And she probably knows that I don't find her in any way a person that I want to associate with. And this becomes a problem for a lot of women, you know. And I've recently heard Sandman talking about the way that feminism will implode on itself, and it's going to, because it doesn't matter this dynamic that they've set up in society is going to come crashing down because we're stepping away from the table. It's kind of like playing a game, and you're changing the rules to where you're the only one who wins, and all of the females at the table, because they've changed the rules, all the women are winning. And there's a lot of guys that stay there at the table and will still play the game to try to win, or because the women have convinced them that there's a chance they could win. But a lot of the guys are just getting up and walking away. And it doesn't matter if they change the rules back to the original rules, the guys are done with the game. It's not fun anymore. They've already left. They've gone home, you know. So it doesn't matter if they change the rules back. And this is the way feminism is going to happen. They're killing themselves off because, like I said in the last one, the thing that we have is there was actually a study done that showed all these women that keep saying we don't need a man. Well, the problem with that statement is if you take 2 cells from a woman and split them to try to make a baby, you're only going to be able to make female babies. That's all you can make, is females. With a man's cells can be split to make a male or a female. So we don't need women. We can actually make women if we want, you know. So this whole concept of women don't need men is complete bullshit. And eventually they're going to see it. But because they're so greedy, and they're such vindictive cunts, and they're such vapid bitches, they won't be able to see it until it's too late. And the same thing is going on in Japan. They're trying all these techniques to get rid of the herbivore men, and their techniques are to shame and to call them like losers and say that they're just scared to talk to women, and they're trying to make it seem like there's not an ulterior motive to what they're doing here. So these women think it's fun to shame men into this, but the problem is the more they shame them, the worse it gets for the women, and they're pushing the men further and further away. And I don't think they're going to come to the realization. They're too stupid. You know, that's the problem. A lot of these women are just too goddamn stupid to realize what they're doing to themselves, and they're not gonna try to do anything until it's too late, until they realize what they've done. It's kind of like the governments, how they work. You know, they continually say that things aren't happening, things aren't doing whatever. They have all these big companies paying them, and then once they really realize that something has to be done and they have to go against these interests, it's already too late, and it doesn't matter if they do anything or not because it's not going to help. And this is the mindset of Japanese women. They don't see that what they're doing, Japanese women and foreign cultures as well, they don't see that what they're doing is going to cause an issue, you know. I've also recently found a really cool guy. I'll link him in the description below. He's from Sweden, and he's actually a former, I forget what he was called, where he's from, but he lives in Sweden now. He grew up in Sweden since he was a child. He was a refugee. And the feminists have taken over that country, Sweden. And I'll link his thing in the description below, and you guys should watch it to see. He says something really funny in the video. He says, Sweden is what Tumblr would look like if it was a country, you know. So they've got like a rape culture thing going on over there. It's complete bedlam over there. And if you guys watch that video, you'll understand where the United States is headed if feminism gets its claws where they want it to be. Because like I always say, they don't want equality. They want equality, and then they want superiority, and they want those consecutively. Basically, once they get where they think is equal to men, then they want to get a leg up on them, you know. And they've already done that years ago, and they just want to keep pushing because they want to just keep stepping on the back of a man. So that's what I was going to talk about today. I figured I'd come back on. I know I haven't made any real videos because I was doing the Korea thing, and I've just been taking some time off trying to do some other things, but I'm going to get back to doing videos again. Thanks guys for watching. Share, like, and subscribe. Comment, and see you later.